A little bit later than usual, but that is okay. I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. My problems have all grown. There's no one here to decide with me. Hey, happy Wednesday, Daniel. Cause you gotta have friends. You gotta have friends. We'll see who shows up first. If I were a betting man, I would say probably my boy Timmy. Timmy. Man, oh man. I'm getting ready to cut the sword off this guy. Been looking at him, thinking about, and I just realized I'm not a fan of that sword at all. And when you've got like literally, handfuls of weapons laying around, it's like it's a Reaper Bones guy, and that honestly makes disassembling it actually better because hey, good day. What's up, Hoser? Oh, we got Saxius. So I have lost the bet I had with myself. Saxius, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, thanks. How's it going for yourself?
It is if it's going any better, it'd be illegal.
Nice. That's positive.
Right?
I did catch that you were suspecting that Timmy would be the one jumping in here.
Well, he almost always is. So
Yeah,
I am surprised. Hey, Crafting Gamer, what's up, homie?
Absolutely, I understand that. It's a staple around these parts.
Well, I mean, look, he's a swamp guy from the swampy parts of Kentucky, and I'm a mountain guy, but we're still from the Great Commonwealth.
Fair enough.
You wouldn't know about it probably, or maybe you would. You're very smart. In Kentucky, or in America, we have like 46 or 47 states, and then we've got like 3 or 4 commonwealths.
Right.
The difference is just how the we call them states, even though they're commonwealths. It's just has to do with how the state government is actually set up.
Right.
But who gives a shit? People vote. You send your people to DC. Things happen. But being like, I think Pennsylvania is a commonwealth. It's like one of those weird, stupid things. People from the region are like, we're a commonwealth. Like we're special. And Kentucky, it's like if you look on a map at Kentucky, right?
Yep.
The further east you go, the mountainous it is. And then at a point in the middle, it just starts getting a little hilly and then it gets flat. And then it's just flat as the prairies.
Right.
And Timmy lives in the swamp part of it. But hey, I still count him as, one of my brothers from the Commonwealth. And Bubba lives to the east and north of me.
Right.
DM Beelzebubba.
Right, yep.
Yeah. So he's a hillbilly like I am.
Damn.
But and I'm not trying to be away, but I don't know how much you studied geography. Shit, I don't know about half the countries on the planet. So
I'll be honest, like geography never really there was parts of it that caught my attention. There were parts of it that really didn't catch my attention. Like I really didn't care about like the whole nature and the rules of like where does river come from and so on. Like that didn't catch my attention. I was more interested in like geopolitics, and that
which you of course use in all of your games.
Exactly. So like that. Like in hindsight, I should probably have paid attention to actual geography because then I can make better maps. I can bring in things like that. But since so many of my games are fantasy, I just go, well, I choose not to apply real life physics to this. So some of it works, some of it doesn't. I told you, like in one of my D&D campaigns, it would get colder the closer to the center of the earth that you went, and everyone's like, why? I was like, well, because I chose that, and I have the reason of like the dark god being in there.
I mean, I suppose in theory, it wouldn't be beyond the realms of actual
My
science
logic,
to have
my,
like a world that formed around like a big chunk of ice.
yeah. So like my logic was the god radiates out negative energy. Negative energy means that it drains out heat, and that often means that you would see or you would experience, a drop in temperature instead. And that's why whenever you would see a large congregation of the undead, because of the negative energies that sustain them, wherever they walked, it would be like winter followed them. So you have dark clouds that will follow them. It would start snowing. Frost would start arriving super early. So those were the signs of like a necromancer was doing work somewhere.
Makes
But
sense to me, man.
yeah, but again, like it's as one of my players told me, my rules are consistent. Like they may defy what is the natural law, but I make a rule, and that is a consistent rule throughout the rest of the game. So you start picking up on like, oh, okay, it is becoming very cold. There is dark magic around. That's bad. We are picking up a certain scent of sulfur or rotten egg, or like we're starting to notice that some of our rations are going missing. That's the sign of demonology or the abyss or hell having started to gain access to an area, because you start having despoilments taking place. Once you establish these rules, or once I've established these rules, that's just what I then do going forward, so the players can start picking up on the signs and they can start going, oh, there's something's going on, or they hear reports of the villagers going, oh, this was happening, and then this smell at time, and all the players will immediately turn around like, well, what smell? Be very specific. How would you describe it? And then that will tell them of what's to come.
I honestly, I love that. And I found very recently that no matter how kind of fantastical and unbelievable or impossible world a fantasy world is, if you pretend like everything about it makes sense and you run your game very consistently, it's really easy for the players to like
Yeah, you're fine.
accept weird shit.
Yeah,
After a while, it just becomes like part of the game.
I mean, I'll take my Rogue Trader game for example.
Mhm.
It's just accepted like, okay, the players are the lords and masters of 30,500 people, and there's just like certain things just gets done, but it means like they can just call upon all of these other things, and there are other things like as we've been playing along, I would establish that hey, there is something called the underdeck. Every ship has an underdeck, which
Right.
is where like even for a ship of Warhammer 40,000, there's a part of the ship which is where the social rejects of that ship goes. They will still do their work, but it's almost like it's the calling place where the mutants, where the people who doesn't get along with like, oh, I don't want to live amongst the gunneries. Someone might have committed a murder, and then like, well, I'm just going to run into the underdecks, and that's the lawless place. Because why would you go down there? Like it's they do their job because otherwise they're going to be airlocked. But it's very much of a place of like there's such extreme hostilities that it's almost treated as a dangerous place.
It's probably where you would have all your illicit businesses setting
Yeah,
up.
that's exactly where it is. Like again, even though it's like I know many would say like, oh, these ships are part of the navy, or there would be this strict thing. It's like there would be a strict thing to a certain level, and then once you go into like the actual like working class, where most of them just live by the rations and avoiding the whips, the coherency or the level of naval or military doctrine like really fades away. And then you go even deeper, and now you're into like Brazilian slum territories, or even like Indian slum territories, where it's cutthroat, because you can't keep it that orderly. And the players have accepted this is a big ship. It is a city, and every city has got its own, well, the streets and the areas where you just don't go to.
Right. Well, I mean, you figure, and I don't know for sure, but I would assume, just based on playing a lot of Battlefleet Gothic,
Yep.
that like even the smaller ships the Imperium uses would be way bigger than one of our aircraft carriers.
Oh God,
And our aircraft carriers have thousands of people on them, thousands and thousands. Right?
Yeah. So again, basing it off the books,
And that's not even counting like a battleship.
Yeah.
Those things are miles long.
No, definitely. So the smallest ship that I've come across, it was around 18,000 people living and working on that ship, and that's like the smallest one. Typically, that's the transport or merchant ships.
You know what's kind of amazing in a way that I just thought of it, but I'll bet you on a lot of these Imperial warships, you probably have people who are like multi-generational crew members.
Oh yeah.
Like
So
they're born on the ship, and their dad was born on that damn ship, and their grandpa was born on that ship, and they're in the engineering department just like all their ancestors because
you literally touched on the point I wanted to make, which is that the people born, like if you go through like the Warhammer, the books, the role playing games, if you say that you are born in the void or within space, you have been there for like many generations. It's actually one of the key things, again, using Rogue Trader. When you buy a new component, like a new gun, a new engine, or an entire new extension that will, let's say, improve the air quality, you don't just buy the equipment, you buy the equipment and all of the families linked who has been overseeing that product, that item.
Right.
That comes along with it because they now have to be a part of it. Because how are you going to train people who A, can't read or write, and B, everything that they are taught is from generational like background. Like they turn the knob because they've been told when that arrow thing on the big round, steam meter, once that gets up to the orange bit, you turn that knob and then it goes back down to the green. You keep it between the green, between 150 and 250. I don't know what those words means, but between these two pointers, and they might even have marked them out on the gauge, and that's what they do. That's it. They
well,
don't.
it's kind of like in ancient times you would have let's say the Greek ships or Roman ships that were rowed by slaves. I mean, you had people who would be on those ships literally their entire life.
Exactly, and that's
They
what
die on that ship. That was
all
they knew.
And that's exactly what it is. And again, like it depends on what kind of
So
ship
I like
you're
that,
dealing
what
with.
you're doing.
Thanks. But yeah, no, it's also depending on like what kind of ship do you have, because you could then, again, this is a part of like building the ship, and one of the reasons why I am in absolute love with Rogue Trader, because you have to sit and you have to make 3 characters before you play the game. You have to make your own character, which as a group then develops, what kind of group you have, like what can you go out and do, how do you want to go about it, so on and so on, which is nice.
Yeah.
Then you have to sit down and build the dynasty, the noble house that owns that ship, because that the people who owns that ship, there's a history behind it. Again, this is specifically Rogue Trader families, but even if you take like the merchant families, or you take the like the military, like the navy ships, there's like decades and centuries of history behind that ship. I mean, James, you're familiar with the Imperial Guard. Just think of like the regiments and how rich some of those regiments, even though they've been destroyed over and over and over, they have been brought back, and there's an heirloom, there's an heritage for having those colors, having this flag, being able to sing that specific song associated to that regiment. I mean, you would know that better.
Well, some of those big battleships, again, I'm basing this on lore from Battlefleet Gothic, the box game I have that I love so much. But some of the Loyalist and Chaos battleships were built before the Horus Heresy. I mean, so they're literally 10,000-year-old ships.
There are some ships that are like, again, like going back to like when the God Emperor was unifying Terra,
Mm-hmm.
there was still trade coming. Like there were still merchants showing up. The Navigators technically predates the Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's why like the Navigator houses are like, well, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get rid of them? You can't.
You really can't. They're the mutants you need.
Exactly. Now
And
again, like
and on top of that, as you're saying, if you want to, I mean, you're talking about deep history, like say House Cortez or whatever. I forget the name of it from the role playing game. They received their mandate to be rogue traders from the Emperor himself.
and he's gone.
Oh, I'll be back. I'll
Oh,
be
there
back.
we are.
There I am. Yeah. So, like, the Emperor was still walking around when he gave that family their mandate to be a rogue trader house.
Exactly. Like the whole thing
So-
about being granted the rogue trade. I mean, back then it was the Emperor realized, oh wait, I've got 1,000,000 space marines. I need more. I need men and women that will go out and scout, be the vanguard, and find these places. Individuals that will go and secure again logistics. It's the thing that like many people snooze about, but it has these huge impacts. And
Yeah.
so that's what is going on there. And then later on, rogue traders were, if there were major like crusades, in order to bolster the what's it called? In order to bolster the resources and attract rich noble families to contribute to a crusade, the imperial, like the administratum and Terra, would then issue out warrants of trade to get
Yep.
people who are like, hey, okay, I will go there. I will have a ship. I will have invested interest to contribute to this thing. However, in return, the planets that I conquer, I will be able to govern. So there's like an invested interest to do it, and they're no longer tied down just to a single system. So they can go a bit further on, and once that's all done, they can go even further on and further on. It's a very nice incentive for it, which is the thing I've done in my game, where the players were told, "Hey, here is a warranted trade. The request is like you need to go and help establish this sector that's been lost for 200 years, and yeah, you've got to make heads and tails of what's there and make sure that we get some tithes back into the Imperium."
Yeah. Well, one thing is if you're the administratum and the Emperor, who started the whole thing anyway, it's just kind of a good idea to take the groups of people within your empire that are already got that kind of personality to where they're always wanting to see what's in the next system and letting them do it. I mean, if it especially because it ends up benefiting you.
Oh yeah. Again, there's going to
Yeah.
be limitations to it. Some people are going to be ambitious. Other people are a little bit too ambitious, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Some of them is going to start going, you know what? Why do I need to pay taxes for something that I seem to have to solve anyway? Why don't I just reinvest into myself a little bit? There's no harm that's going to come from happen from there, is there? I mean, taxation without representation, that's just theft.
And the next thing you know, you've got the Badab War, and there's like
Exactly.
12 legions duking it out amongst each other.
Actually, my current Rogue Trader campaign is literally next door to the Badab sector because of this entire thing. I was like, oh, I can't say no to that.
And my dear beloved Lamenters who get tricked into fighting for the bad guys until the Minotaur's been into them.
They had like every good intention. Like they were given a break for like the first time in centuries.
Yeah, the Imperium, rather than exterminating them, just told them they had to go on crusade.
Yeah, no, like, yeah. But I don't know if you've watched Arch Warhammer's or Arch's like series on Badab.
I have. It's a long series, but it's really good.
It's really, really good. I do like that when the Inquisition's like, oh, there's got to be something wrong with them, and then they send the Lamentus over to be examined. They're told everything's fine. They're like, no, we need more than that answer. And then it's like, no, everything is fine, and you can shut the fuck up and sit down. It's like, I'm sorry, who do you know who you're talking to? Yes, we do, and you are not even worth for us to fight with. You can sit down because this is not a fight you want to pick. I was like, oh, okay. John Dye's friend was like, okay, right, I'm gonna sit down for that one. And yes, Mobius, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That is exactly what the Warders were intending. They
that
were,
is 100% what led the Lamenters down their path. They had fought so many wars with the Astral Claws as their brothers that when the Astral Claws called and said, we need help, they believed them instead of actually looking into what was really going on. And
yeah, but so looking at what was happening, and you line everything up, why would the Lamenters turn on the oh god, the claws?
it was either Astral Claws or
Astral
Tiger
Claws.
Claws.
Yeah, the Astral Claws. There we go. Sorry, I had that
Yeah.
slip up. So for the longest period, the Astral Claws were helping the Lamenters. They were helping basically everyone. They were building it all up. And then when the Imperium came in and was like, it was the Inquisition who basically went like, oh, Lamenters, you have failed in every regard. And the Lamenters like, well, excuse me, what? The Astral Claws then stepped up and went like, no, how dare you speak to my brother that way? You know, they had their back over and over and over. So when all this happens, and you see how the Astral Claws are like, we need more help. We can achieve this. We can do this. Can you just give us some more, from the Administratum? And all they get is nothing. When shit hit the fan and the Astral Claws like, do you have my back on this? And you've been for hundreds of years, been backed by them. They've come to your help. You've stepped up and helped them. It's again, James, I'm going to refer to your experience of being in the army. That's a brotherhood that
was
forged.
the thing.
That is a brotherhood, and it's so difficult to explain to individuals who have not been.
Yeah, so that's why you end up with like these completely loyal chapters that ended up being found Traitoris, like the Mantis Legion, the Blizzard Warriors. I mean, there was so many that got just sucked into this thing because of the Brotherhood and the fact that the Imperial guy who showed up was just an arrogant dick. And then combine that with the fact that Huron Blackheart had basically went rogue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a perfect storm. But Badab Wars is one of the most interesting stories. Let's get Saxus back. The Badab Wars is one of the most interesting bits of lore in the whole 40K universe.
I do agree. It's definitely the ones where, like the intricacies, it's not like a single event. Like if you look at the War of Rax, where it's like, okay, and a corrupt cardinal came to a planet, took it over, and basically seceded. It's like, well, that's a very cut and dry situation. The Badab War is a layered, complex, intricate mess where idiots could not understand what was being presented, and genuinely, it's amazing Lufthoran had so much patience that he would entertain multiple delegations going backwards and forwards until he just said, you know what? I am going to call upon my old rights as an Astartes chapter master and declare independence. And I am within my right to govern over the planets that I have been given. Now, that's not what the Imperial Senate or indeed what the High Lords wanted, because it's like, wait, that's... No, how dare you? No.
Well, that is the risk. And if you go by your, the 40K lore, it happens where every now and then a Space Marine chapter will forget, and the Horus Heresy legions will forget that they're supposed to serve humanity. But occasionally they look at the humans and they look at themselves and they're like, why are we serving these things? I mean, they're little. They can't do anything,
Exactly. I mean, if you take, I'm going to use I love the Black Templars.
Yeah.
But they have that problem, which is that when they look at the Imperial Guardsmen, they go, "You can't keep up. You can't make a difference. I am here to do all the hard work, so you better get out of my way because I have got no tolerance for your impetuous slacking."
They really are kind of assholes to the Imperial Guard.
They are, and you I can't say that I fault them because from their point of view, yeah, they come in, they do the heavy lifting, they fight battles that are impossible. They have never stopped their crusades.
Right.
And I understand that they might turn around and go like, well, why am I bothering with this? And then you've got the complete opposite, like the salamanders, the raven guards, the raptors.
Yeah.
They just go out of their way to make sure that humans are kept alive. I mean, the Raven Guards aren't overt about it, but they will train local humans to improve them so that they can make a difference in the next fight, so that there's fewer lives that are being taken. And the Raptors, again, they will focus on taking out the enemy strong points to create areas where the Imperial Guard can then come in and make that difference. Like they literally work tangential to, like they don't overrule the Imperial Guard. They will come in and say, right, what's your plan? Okay, that's your plan. We are going to help you by going here, 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 and here, and we're going to do this, 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 and this. If you fail at this, this, and this point, we're going to do backups for this, this, and this. Oh, my absolute favorites, the Ultramarines. I don't care that they're vanilla. I like the fact that there's like a wider concept, like they wage war on a larger scale by ensuring that once they are done with their war, they work towards the people that are taking over know what they're doing. They build towards it's like empire building. Like they think beyond the war itself.
Well, I mean, the Ultramarines, in my opinion, could best be described as pretty much space Romans, except without all the slavery and genocide.
Yes,
because the Ultramarines are actually, in a lot of ways, a lot more nice than the actual Romans were.
Oh, my absolute leaks. And the way that we're seeing the Ultramarines in present day 40k, they're very much in the decline because it used to be like Ultramar of 500 worlds. Now it's like Macragge and 11 other worlds that are remaining because they've had to secede, or not secede, but like give out a lot of planets to their successor chapters.
Right.
But again, that's
but of all the legions, they have the most successor chapters too.
Yeah.
What's up, Satya? How you doing, homie?
Yeah, again, that's there is
boy from Finland.
There is definitely, but again, that's where the Games Workshop's making their money. It makes sense that they've focused on that. But again, there's like 1,000 Space Marine chapters.
There are so many Space Marine chapters that no one actually really knows.
Which makes sense. I mean, I was only introduced to the Minotaurs and, well, that's a lie. I had 2 players play the Minotaurs and the Carcharodons. I didn't know what they were. I went to their wiki page. I read them like, I don't understand why these 2 players are so hyped about them. Then I watched the War for Badab, and I was like, what the fuck are these?
The Minotaur and the Carcharodons, they're just brutal. Just brutality.
It's the same with like the Executioners. There are certain Space Marine chapters who specializes in fighting other Space Marine chapters.
Yeah.
Like they go in and it's like, when we fight, there is no leniency. There is no mercy. There is no point in having honor. What there is life and there is death. And there's only one of us leaving this room.
I mean, the whole point of the Space Wolves when the Emperor created them was they were his executioners.
Yeah.
Like if a legion effed up, the Space Wolves got sent.
Yeah, and that's what we saw on Magnus's homeworld. Prospero, if I got that right.
Well, that is because also Horus put the okie doke on him, said, hey, the Emperor changed his mind. Don't arrest him, kill him. And of course, Leman Russ, who hated him anyway, was like, sure thing, man.
Don't
you're the War Master, whatever you say.
Exactly.
So poor Prospero. And then my favorite legion, the Ninth Legion, barely escaped being exterminated by the Emperor. The Blood
Oh, shit.
Angels,
Oh yes, yes, Sanguinius
when they
and
were
the
known as the Revenants, and they only wore gray with
right.
the Roman 9 on the. They didn't even have a chapter banner yet.
Mm,
It was the time before they encountered Sanguinius, and
right.
all of these Space Marines and the Revenants were just maniacs. They made the World Eaters look like kind, polite people.
Yeah, but wasn't that also because no, the Red Thirst was setting in, but Sanguinius was hiding that.
Sanguinius is the actual thing that causes all that.
Mm,
But what happened with the Revenants is they, because the Blood Angels gene seed tends to have a super high rate of success when creating Space Marines,
yeah.
they gave no shits about losses. They always fought hand to hand. They never took prisoners. And it turns out the reason in later eras that they paint their armor blood red is because they didn't wash their armor. So it started out slate gray, but it would just be coated with blood all the time. And all of the other legions hated their fucking guts. Like
Right.
no one wanted to be near them. The Emperor was actually going into talks with his main bros, talking about we might have to wipe these bastards out.
Yeah.
And then Sanguinius showed up and straightened them out and turned them into the warrior poets and artists and
Well,
stuff.
that's good. That's cool though. That's a nice arc of redemption. Again, I don't know too much about the Space Marine. I know a little bit, but not too much, because I've always been more interested in the Imperial Guard and the human aspect. But I do like that there's a chapter for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to go and dig really for them.
Not only that, but like the books all say, I mean, there's so many chapters that if you wanted to play your own chapter, you can base it on Ultramarines. Like use Ultramarine rules, but make your own chapter.
Yeah, totally.
Or whatever you want. I
mean, would you like to play a chapter that does not believe in the Geneva Convention? Well, the Dark Angels have got you covered.
That's true. And Saxist is right. In the last book, I was my brother told me about actually. The Minotaurs showed up to Terra like they were going to do something against Guilliman, but Guilliman was playing like 5 steps ahead and had like all of these Inquisitors and other High Lords assassinated, but they had been planning to assassinate him. Yeah. So that's why I guess in the 41st millennium, Guilliman is the de facto ruler of the Empire.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Lord of Assassins, he's still kicking because he sided with Guilliman right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guys that sided with Guilliman, they're like, we're your boys. But any of them that were traitorous at all got drifted out.
It was intense because there was you had the High Lords, you have the different factions, the civil war within the Inquisition, again the whole aspect of the Inquisitors. You just went, who are you? No, we can't have that. That is going to upset the status quo and like the entire like. It sounds counterintuitive now that we're thinking about it, but if at the time you are being told, yeah, there's this miracle of the Primarch of the ancient times having been woken up, you're probably going to look at it and go, I don't quite believe it. We have had one instance of a fake saint apparently making their appearance and convincing us to run straight into Terra.
Right.
So we're going to do some checkings here, and we're going to come in with heavy prejudices.
Yeah. But and now of course in the lore, freaking Lionel Johnson's loose and running amok because
yeah,
because that's just how that dude is. He's just like, of all the Primarchs, if you read the books, he is not easy to deal with.
No,
he's like,
I think one of my friends, because he was going through the Horus Heresy, and he was then going through the the End of the Death, like the last 3 big books for the Horus Heresy.
Yeah,
he was explaining that Lionel Johnson exhibits a very strong level of autism,
That's
But
why a
like
lot of people say he is the autistic Primarch. He hyper focuses, and it's just like
he's super good at what he does, and like he's very like when it comes to the strategy, when it comes to winning, when it comes to all of that, like he really will tunnel vision, and he will be very good at what he does. The problem is he's very difficult to like personally to engage with. You know, he's got like terrible sense of understanding. Um, he was
he
because of
has
like
no social skills.
he's got no social skills, and also like he's bearing of like he either likes you or he absolutely he will not get along with you. And it's just one of those situations like that was something that Perturabo was able to exploit because he was able to get like a lot of like high grade weapons from Lionel Johnson because Lionel Johnson had that moment of like, wait, I think we're on the same page here. I will give you this. Um, and now that he's awoken and he's seen what's happening to the Imperium, he's seen the Maledictum, he's seeing Gilliman having risen up. To my understanding, and James, you please correct me if I'm wrong, Lionel Johnson is he on the other side of the Maledictum, or is he on the other side of the Ultra
He,
sequence?
in his service to whatever he thinks the Emperor would like him to do, has journeyed to the other side of the rift,
Right.
and he's been helping the Blood Angels in what they call the Dark Imperium, because now
Right.
the Empire is basically two empires.
Yeah.
And on the one side, the Dark Imperium, it's ruled over by Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels.
Yep.
In the name of the Emperor, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
so the first thing Lionel Johnson did is whip into that area and help squash that shit.
Yeah.
Crimson Fists are awesome. They're one of the first chapters from Dorne, but they're a lot cooler. I used to, back in the day, have Pedro Cantor, the chapter master of the Crimson Fist miniature. And it was cool, too, because he had a really fancy bolter and he had the fist up. And you paint the fist, of course, red because Crimson Fist. And then I would tell everybody to vote for Pedro. But anyway, it was a good miniature. There was a time in the mid 2000s where the miniatures weren't super expensive comparatively, and they were good. And man, that's like the glory days of the game.
Oh,
Between
man.
like 4th and 7th and 8th, maybe.
I know.
And then
Would love to have just gone back and like whatever pocket money I would have had just invested into both the fantasy and the 40K because there was also characters that I remember from the codexes that I know that they slowly phased them out, but it's just one of those things that, like I kind of miss the unique characters like you would have in a named ace tank commander that you could put in that would make the tanks that little bit better. You would have that one colonel who was super good at like leading elite forces. So that was, when you drop down the stormtroopers, they would really, kick ass this time because they would be able to like do rerolls and hotshot last guns, being quite nice.
right.
Or like I think there's like one of the Valhallan commanders where you would literally designate your conscripts to be revived as the next wave because you would just have an endless supply of conscripts that you could send at the enemy.
They used to do a lot of cool stuff like that. It'd be like they still, I guess, kind of do it, but not. But yeah,
it's a different focus. It's a very different focus. I think the focus these days are more towards, keep the game snappy, give some cool things that means that your army can do some things that are neat for what they are meant to do. But the characters are like taking a third place at this point.
Yeah, I remember the one Imperial Guard book I had way back in the day. For characters, it had like Sly Marbo or whatever.
Yeah.
Catechins, basically, Stallone's character, Rambo. And it had Harkon Iron Hand. He was another Catechin.
Yeah.
And then it had like a Talarian Desert Warrior commander. I forget his name, but it was some Arabic, like Aziz Al, whatever. And
they had some
and then it also had the stats if you wanted to add them into your army.
Yep.
for like Schaefer's Last Chancers or Colonel Gaunt's freaking First and Only.
Yeah, the
And
Tammet
they all
first
had
one.
special abilities and stuff, you know. So you could make a really fluffy list full of just like all these cool characters. But you're right. They kind of now I don't know if this is like means anything or not, but Games Workshop came out with the plastic female heads for like Space
Yes.
Marines or whatever, and then
Yeah,
immediately tuck them off their main page, and you have to like special order 'em.
yeah, for the custodies.
Because I guess the reaction was like,
The reaction was visceral online. Like, so even the places that you normally go to, like, read basically not even propaganda, but like just more advertisement for it,
yeah,
pretty much they just went, yeah, they're all right. Eh, it's just hits.
yeah.
And then,
Spiky Bits was even like, did we really need this? And he never says anything really bad about GW, but it's like,
yeah,
is this really? I mean,
I mean, my stance is I'm not their customer when it comes to the miniatures. So
right.
I like they can do whatever they want to do. Like I'm not a customer. Like I don't feel that I am entitled to a voice on that.
Yeah.
And ergo, it's their product, their IP. They can do what they want, and I will stay clear of it. Like I buy the role playing games, and I'm quite happy with that. That's it.
And do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like
See,
that's
I quit playing 40K stuff except for Imperium, Legion Imperium. So I didn't get upset at all. I was just like, huh. But
yeah.
I
I
have
just
mentioned on my, like, I gave a rant about the other day, though, that these companies keep alienating their hardcore fans to try to attract groups of people who are never going to be hardcore fans.
yeah.
And it's like not smart.
I know I absolutely agree. Like you got to remember where the money is, and I understand. Like in this case, like the money is in the tabletop, and you can earn a nice side piece by renting the IP out. I mean, Games Workshop is known. Like even if it's a terrible mobile game that you end up buying or downloading, everything that is from that Warhammer that's related to Warhammer, you know exactly what they are because the looks has to be exact. You're not allowed to deviate from what it is. Um, but I agree. Like it's the way Games Workshop has gone uh, around doing their things. I've never been impressed by that, and I just got fed up with it. Especially when they switched from over to Age of Sigma. I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm not the customer. That's okay. I'm moving out.
So many people were the same.
Yeah, again, like
Like, I remember being actually angry. But again, I think you and I've talked about this. I had a
yeah,
massive, like 5,000 point Dark Elf army.
yeah.
And then they blow the world up, and Dark Elves aren't even in it for the like. Originally, they didn't even have Dark Elves in Age of Sigmar,
I
and
know.
I'm like,
I can't even remember what the plan was for like the Empire units. I was like, well, what do happen? It wasn't until like one or two edition. It was like
they add an
one.
expansion called Cities of Sigmar or something,
Yeah,
and
and
that
it was
all of a sudden that's where you could use your Imperial guys, and for some reason also the Dark Elves, and Malkath become a ally of Sigmar because of being a member of the law as opposed to death or chaos or whatever.
I
And then Marathi, Malkath's wife slash mother,
mm,
become a member of the chaos side and turn to a giant like serpent from the waist down demon thing.
I lost the buy-in for Age of Sigma, like made me just lose interest in their fantasy products. I was like, okay, they what's it called? They're going for a different audience, and that's not me.
True, PB. See, I never bought Age of Sigmar, but I did buy one of the standalone like fantasy boxes where you got like one side you got a bunch of barbarian type guys, and the other side you got like beastmen.
Yeah.
I think it was called Warcry or something like that.
Right.
And it was basically like that, but it was a box that was supposed to be like a standalone, you and another player. You know, it came with like a map that folded out and some terrain pieces, and you know, and it wasn't bad. It was kind of like, honestly, it was like if Warhammer Fantasy had made a version of Kill Team.
Yeah.
Because you played with like very small units, all on round bases. There, you know, and there were like multiple boxes. Like one of them came with like dwarf stuff and you know, Warcry. Yeah, every time they released it, it had different armies in it or whatever.
Yeah, no, I do.
So it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I know Games Workshop like experiments with all sorts of things. Like there was one where they brought back out like basically Gothic, but for fantasy, and then they brought out Gothic. Then they did a campaign where each store would have like hexagons that they would paint, and then you could like have armies move around and be like, "Oh, this is how you arrange like a campaign." I can't remember what that was called. Like you can now have a campaign and your flags move around. You conquer things. You get bonuses for the following things. And I was like, why would I buy this? Like that didn't make sense. And the Battlefleet Gothic or the ship thing, I was like, oh, that's cool. But how regular is this going to be run? Oh, it's a limited edition. Like I'm not going to give into fearing of missing out.
Yeah. Well, the thing they did in my store, which is why I own the book, but I don't own any of the hexes like that.
Yeah.
Is we did play a store campaign, and it's like week 1 was 500 points, and then like week 2 was 750, and it went all the way up to 2,000 eventually. Yeah. And we used the book that came with Battlefleet Gothic that was all about like orbital assault and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we would play like 1 week would be Battlefleet Gothic fighting over control of the airspace above the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how that went, then the next week would be
the tabletop, like
the tabletop war game, because whoever won is landing troops or whatever, you know. It's like in my opinion, that is a good idea, but the problem is, as you said, it's like it wasn't ever going to be a permanent thing.
No.
And I get it. You know, once the campaign was over, that was just it. It was like, all right, go home.
Again, there are some really good ones. I'm just going to see if I can get one of them that I ended up buying. Just a second here. Because,
well, to me, the best game they ever really made was Manowar, and they have never brought that game back. And I suspect they never will. So luckily, I have a bunch of the stuff for it, but that game, as a game, it played so well.
Yeah, because there were some of these that were really good. Like one of the ones that I bought was the Crusader Fire. So that was when they were introducing a whole bunch of new.
Yeah, that's things. The Hellbrood on the cover. I remember the box set that came with the Hellbrood.
Exactly. So I bought that. I bought the entire thing, and it then includes the whole concept of having planetary battles. They even went out and had a full map of the system where you could go and fight. So you could do the Battlefleet Gothic. It would then be different terrains and what have you. Again, as a concept, I absolutely loved it, and I kept on thinking like, okay, I can get people to play this. We can have multiple armies doing these things. It would be a really cool concept. There was just no one was interested in the role-playing aspect or the RPG aspects. They just wanted to do wargaming, which, again, not everyone has that hybrid interest.
Right.
Not to mention the terrain cost me a fortune.
I think I started out as a wargamer kinda until I got introduced into role-playing. And then I become a role player that played war games, like because whenever I made my armies and stuff, I always like thought about not as well. This is after I got over my win at all costs illness that I had. I started just playing fluff lists and you know,
Yeah.
and actually getting into it. Which there's my brother. He and I, when we played Biotech, we always named the pilots and
Yeah,
you
totally.
know all of that. So it was almost, even though we were playing classic Biotech, it was almost like a role playing game. I
No,
mean, you know, we knew who our
I
people were.
mean, one of the other, going back to what the Games Workshop released, they then had like, what's it called? Tamurkan, the Throne of Chaos, that they came out with for fantasy, which was like an entire campaign, again, chaos focused, where like as you will be playing along, you would be going through a story, you'll be encountering characters, you would be having access to very unique monsters. Again, they would be from Forge World,
Mm-hmm.
but it would then like take you through all of these aspects. Even had like expansions to the Empire and what their units could be like.
You
Loved
know,
it.
they had a war game there for a while that was supposed to. It was like really weird war bands that were, I guess, chaos guys, and you were all fighting out front of the Eternal City, which apparently is up in the freaking Arctic Circle. You know, there's that
Yeah,
imperial or not imperial, the Eternal City.
right.
And so they had all these really unique war bands. So when you played the game, it'd be like you're 6 or 7 guys fighting other chaos guys. It was just like there was like 7 or 8 armies. So think
Yep.
Necromunda, except
Yep.
chaos fantasy.
Nice. Oh
And
wait, Mordheim. That's the one you're referring to. Mordheim, where
oh,
you're like in
Mordheim
this.
was amazing.
Yeah, that's the one where like you would be inside the city. You would have like a squad, or you would all be like going through to like get the warp stone or something like that.
Yeah,
That one.
you could be different. Like you could be Skaven, different types of human. There was a couple of things you could be. Later, they added like a ton of stuff, but you build a war band with your leader and like 200 gold or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you played on this 4x4 map. And yeah, I mean, you know, the goal was to get as much warp stone as possible, but you could find magic weapons and stuff too. Modern day, I would say just play Frostgrave because it's a better game.
Yeah.
It plays better and it's basically the same thing. And PB mentions Necromunda leagues. Totally, 100%, except, and this is one thing, the new Necromunda, which I bought, and it cost $300 something for the starter box, right? It's overly complicated. The terrain is beautiful, but you know what? I've played both versions, and given the choice, I wish they just released that original with the freaking plastic end caps with the cardboard, you know, causeways, and the original, you know, goofy looking gang members, because the new stuff is just back in the day, man. You could crank a game of Mordheim or Necromunda out in like no time.
Yeah.
Set up, do your thing, grab your gold, XP, roll to see who's dead, move on. And now they've made it so complicated. It's like you got to spend a lot of time just to play the game. And it's like, nah, you know. And then they come out with that fantasy warship game, but it was like super stupid.
Yeah.
Because it had like 5 ships, and that was the only 5 ships, and it was a play along, like it was just independent. And when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be Manowar. Yeah. And then when I found out it wasn't, I'm like, well, didn't buy that. Don't care. You know.
No, that's I remember when that came out, and I know my store was pushing it on me. I was like, "You're not getting me to buy it." Like no. I want to do my block armies clashing against each other. That you can't get me to do a naval thing. I like the concept, but there's just no one that would play it the way that I would be interested in it.
And I was the same way, except you're not ever going to get me to buy that because that's not Manowar. If it were Manowar, I would have been like, yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, even though I already got like a fleet for every faction, I'll look at it.
I remember so I ended up annoying my local store because what I ended up doing was I would take, so again, I played the Empire, so I would buy the militia because they would be like, okay, normally if you want the state troopers, it's like, I don't know, like $20, you get 10 men, like something like that. So I took the militia. I was like, okay, I get 40 men for $15. All right, I like these odds. So I bought one of them. I bought two of them to basically sort of go, right, I'm going to see if I can do some conversion here. Because I have so many bits from the, what's it called? From the Statesman that I'm like, I'm sure I can scrounge out the needed weapons for them to look the
Oh
part.
yeah.
And when I started assembling the militiamen, I realized they have all the bits I need to make a entire group of like 20 melee soldiers, and I just need to give them the shields, and then they're golden. And then I could have 2 sets of crossbowmen easily built from all of that. I was like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. That's a great way for me to like have variety. But they've stopped that now because again, the militia, what's it called? The militia box sets were not what they wanted.
Well, they were too good of a value.
Exactly.
And what you call the militia box set originally was released in the Mordheim box set. Those were the human sprues that you built your war game out of, right? And then they decided to release them in their own box and make them like a thing that your Imperial Army could have.
Yep.
And man, everyone I know who played fantasy loved that box set.
Oh, the
like
bits
if you were playing vampire, if you were playing whatever, because you could literally kit bash about anything out of it.
I loved it. Again, it's one part of the hobby that I absolutely loved. Kit bashing. I enjoyed painting. I wasn't good at it, but I enjoyed it.
Right.
I mean, if I were to get back into it, I'd do a lot more research for how to do the painting. But you can have some amazing things, and the kit bashing is so much fun.
Yeah,
like being able to just take the purity seals and just be like, "This is a holy man. He needs purity seals. He needs purity seals on his purity seals." Like,
right. This guy's purity seals have purity. Yeah, right. And then with fantasy, like that mercenary box you're talking about, if you played undead, it was such an easy matter to throw like skeleton or zombie heads and just make like all kinds of crazy shit. If you played chaos, you just throw some chaos shields and stuff. And now they're like chaos marauders or whatever. I mean, such a good box set. Yeah, Hungar. I know. That's when Hungar visits, he and I well, I play Manowar. He watches his dwarf fleet go to the bottom of the ocean. See, I got to talk a little smack about him. He plays the dwarves, so of course he's always trying to torpedo my freaking galleons and shit.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. So yeah, Hungar and I, we got Warcry, and and I've got the new Kill Team, which I actually really like, especially now that they fixed the balance and just any idiot playing Custodes can't just walk over you like you're not even there. Because when that game first come out, if your opponent was playing Custodes, you were losing. And yes, it makes sense according to the lore.
Yeah, but
3 or 4 Custodes can just wreck 20 Imperial Guardsmen, but it's not really fun.
But that's not why you go in there. Like again, if I were to go into again, the idea of Kill Team is again, it's a small unit with focus towards quick skirmish. Again, that's a good idea, and I love what they've done with a lot of the units. They are gorgeous. They are nice. Yeah, I'm looking at that, and again, the idea of like kit bashing is coming in. I'm like, I could do all these cool things. I came across an amazing model on Reddit where the guy basically went through, I have kit bashed every single thing. This pauldron is actually from the Chaos Imperial Guardsman. This one's the Cadian. This one's from Krieg. That's actually a Kalachan. That one's from Deathwatch. And it's just, you just look at it going like, that's awesome. Like that is awesome.
Well, that's why we always punched out all the spare bits and kept them in a little box.
I kept them in the things so that they would be easier to find. So I'd be pulling. I was like, okay, Imperial, like, oh, that's the one I need, and I can go through and see what was there. But that's maybe me. But it would take up so much space. was
I
insane.
have, okay, you know those round tins that Danish cookies come in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those, and that thing is packed. Like,
Uh,
full
you
of
you
like everything, fantasy, kill team, freaking you name it. If it's
yeah.
like something that I've ever built, gripping beast, freaking Victrix, like all of it, all the spares are just in there. So
That's
now, if
nice.
I'm working on my stuff, I just pop that tin open and give it a look and be like, well,
You just
there's the
swirl around, see what comes up.
swirl it around exactly, see what pops up. And then I'm like, well, there's the sword I needed. Like I just cut this guy who's a Reaper figure I'm working
Yep.
on. I cut his sword off,
Yeah.
but then
Oh,
I put
nice.
that big ass scimitar on,
Yep.
and the scimitar is a metal scimitar. So
Nice.
since this guy's bones, I just drilled through with the right
Yep.
and then pushed it through the soft plastic and glued it in. Because I mean, I don't know why. I've been making really like more Boris Vallejo, Frazetta looking miniatures lately.
Yep.
Now I am going to be building my Barons War stuff eventually, and
Yep.
that's just straight up, standard historic.
That's fair.
But for my role playing game, I'm definitely leaning hard into like the really fantastical, like women with
Yeah.
like chain bikinis or golden cups around there, and burly Conan looking dudes and wizards that look really weird because they're all wearing like weird striped clothes and shit because
Yeah.
like Arrow Otis used to paint his wizards in a lot of his stuff because it fits the campaign we're playing.
That makes sense.
But yeah, man, they'll be here in a couple days. In addition to the Barons War stuff I got, which is generic 11th century soldiers, I picked up a box of Knightly Order Knights on horseback from Fireforge.
Yep.
And a box of footmen from Fireforge. And looking at them, like the box of horsemen, 6 of them have the full comparisons and everything, and 6 don't. Yep. And then the footmen, some of them are heavily armored and some aren't. And there's like 20 something of them. So I'm going to have 6 Knights Templar with 6 mounted sergeants backing them up. And then I'm going to have foot sergeants, foot knights, and then the guys that don't have a lot of armor, I'm going to give them crossbows. And they'll be foot sergeants with crossbows.
Nice.
And that will be my entire Crusade army because, it turns out Barons War, they have a book you can buy called Altrimmer.
Right.
And it's basically the Crusades. And I've already got an Arabic army from that era. So.
That's very nice.
Yeah. I think it'll be pretty cool. If I ever get to play. But then again, Hungar is going to visit me in a couple months. And he already said that he wants to play the Templars. But I don't mind. I'll play. I'll play the Forces of Saladin.
Yeah.
Not what I would want necessarily, but to get a game in, I'll do it.
No, I get it.
Plus, I've got a unit of Saladin's, what do they call them? The Black Guard or whatever. They were like elite Arabic soldiers that were all black, and they had like a swirly thing on their shields, and they were supposed to, they apparently, I think they're the ones that beat shit out of the Mongols when the Mongols tried to test Egypt.
I can't say I know too much about that area and that part of history, so I'm taking your word for that one. But going to what you said, like sometimes you just want a game. I recall that I was at it was like a kids camp or something, and one of the kids that brought like his armies, his 40k armies with him. He was like he really wanted to play, but like no one really knew how to play the rules or anything like that. So I was like, you know what, I don't know the rules. Bear with me, kids. We're gonna make some things up as we go along. Honestly, all he wanted was to just play. And once we were done, he was absolutely beaming. He won. I mean, I didn't care. Like, I was making things up, like making it look like, oh, I've got an evil sorceress who's doing this, and I was pulling out like a fantasy book. I was like, oh, here's what it says here. And he was like, oh god, that's terrible. Gotta shoot him. His mom actually came over and was like, how did you do this? I couldn't. How did you know all these rules? And I just leaned in, but none of it matters. He just wants to roll dice. He wants to roll dice and just move miniatures around. Go.
He
Pew,
wants
pew.
to move his guys around and roll some
Yeah.
dice, and he hopes shit will go his way.
Yeah, that's
That's really nice of you that you actually.
Yeah, the mom was like, I've been trying to read the book. It just doesn't make sense. Like, here's the treat. Here's the treat. He wants a story. And that's what I was doing. I was just making up a story like a game master. I was like, here's what's happening. Oh, what's going on? Hey, I've got this big evil guy coming over here. What are you doing? I've got my melter man. He's going to run over here. He's going to do this. It's like, let me read up in the melters. Isn't that something that they can blow up? Or is that plasma? It's like, oh, I don't know. It sounds right. Might be a melter thing. I was like, roll this. Just don't get a 1. Oh, it's a 2. It's fine.
You know, Saxius, I can't swear by this, but I kind of feel like he probably enjoyed that game better than any other game that he ever ended up playing of Warhammer. Because I have no reason to say, but I just feel like that little kid probably will remember that.
I hope so. It's just one of those things of like you spot a moment. It's like you can make it. You could do something here, and it's like that kid just wanted a game. I gave him a game, and he loved it. I remember a kid was like needing to buy like the big stomper for the orcs.
Yeah,
and he learned like, oh, he was $10 short. I leaned over, I was like, come on, kid, here's $10. And the kid was like, really? I was like, go and paint that and make it look very orky. He was just the store owner also looked at me after they left, and he was like, that's a memory that's going to stay with that kid for a while.
It is.
Yeah. Like a complete stranger giving him the money so that he can go and have his game. Like that's.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
man.
On that note, I am going to have to bounce. But James, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here and regaling me with your stories. They're always very interesting.
Yes, I try to entertain. Take care.
Peace out, brother. All right. So just me again until the wife gets home. Absolutely, Squirrel Hermit. Absolutely. You're so right. I've ran kind of skirmish games, but how I did it is I would have like basically it was during the AD&D time, and I would have like where one figure equaled 10 figures, like bow system. And then the amount of hit points they had was whatever their hit die was times 10. And otherwise, I just played the game like AD&D. So if you saw like a unit of 6 orcs walking at you, it was actually 60 orcs. And as a player, instead of having whatever hit points your player actually would have, you had your level as hit points, which means if you run into 60 orcs, you could get killed if they hit you, you know, because I used armor class and everything like, you know, the same. So if the orcs were all wearing studded armor, then their armor class would be like, you know, an 8, 7, whatever. And if your player character had like full plate and a shield, then they have an armor class like 1, which means, yeah, the orcs are generally not going to hit you. But if an orc hits you and, you know, you're an 8th level fighter, but I'm rolling 1 dice 6 for how much damage you take. So you basically got 8 hit points and you can take up to 6. And that represents you getting overran, surrounded on all sides by like 10 or 20 orcs, and they're just all beating the snot out of you, you know? So in that case, yeah, a lot of times it's better if your melee type warrior characters attach themselves to a friendly unit so they can, you know, you can add your attack power and everything to that unit, and then, you know, use your charisma and everything to affect that unit's morale and everything. as opposed to trying to solo a company of orc warriors, which, let's be honest, you really should never be able to do. Statistically, you should. I know in more modern versions of the game, it might be possible, but in AD&D, a level 10 fighter against 60 orc warriors, that level 10 fighter is probably going to die. I mean, it might take you a long time for the orcs to chip them down, but when you get, if the orcs are carrying spears, then the orcs are going to get 18 attacks per round, conceivably, if they surround him. And then even if they need 19 or 20 to hit him, or 20, I mean, if you're rolling 18 dice, you're going to get those hits. And then say a level 10 fighter in AD&D is probably going to have around 60 hit points, depending if he's got good con or not. Well, I mean, 1 die 6 damage every time they hit you, because if you need a 20, I don't let you get crits. But yeah, just in war game terms, that's just too much. If you're going to deal with something like that, you need a mage to be able to whip a fireball at that unit and like whack half of it right off the bat. That'll work. And then maybe they'll, lose their morale check and they'll just run off. But I don't care what kind of AD&D fighter you think you are. You're not going to solo 100 orcs or 60, probably not even 50. It's just math, So yeah, I've got my Baron's War guys I'll put together at some point. All of this stuff for Legions Imperialis, you can't see it, but let me move this. This is all extra stuff. My armies are done. And I need to prime all these Titans and get them painted. But which won't be that hard. But I've been so obsessed with getting my this mess of figures on my table done, And yeah, like Saxis said, I agree. Hungar, you agree. Sometimes you just want to play a game. There are times where if somebody walked up, and even if I didn't really like the game, if I were hanging out at the comic shop and somebody walked up and was like, hey, man, you want to play? I'd be like, yeah. Because, I mean, that's why you're there, right? You showed up to play. So, now one thing, guys, and this is like, oh, whatever. It turns out I have enough figures up there of Normans that I had bought for Saga that I could actually, for Baron's War, just filled my Norman army. And it would work, since during the Baron's War in 11 whatever, one of the huge factions were actually the Normans from France that were claiming they should own parts of England and vice versa, So yeah, I could field a bunch of guys with the nasal helms and the full plate, Norman knights. And who knows? Maybe I'll do that. And if I start playing during the Crusade era, I have enough figures to make 20 Byzantine armies. So I could pick, like, I've got the figure for Basil II. I could make him my warlord and then surround him with freaking Varangian guards as my foot knights, and then pick up some horse archers, Tloxial or whatever they were called. It's Greek. And, some standard spearmen and stuff, and have an army to play with Baron's War, but of my beloved Byzantines during the 11th century. So that also is a possibility, Basically, yeah, it's a skirmish game. I like it, and it turns out I already have so many armies for it. I've got an army of Vikings, and I'm pretty sure in the 11th century the Vikings were probably still Viking all over England. So I could pick a Viking and say that's the leader of my war host, and have Huskarls as my foot knights, and then standard warriors to fill it in, right? And just do that. I'm pretty excited about playing this game, even though I'm probably not going to work on anything that has to do with it for months. I want to get the stuff I'm working on now finished. So, but that was a pleasure having Saxius drop in to say hey. I'll tell you, Saxius doesn't even know how far he and I go back. And that's basically because all of the Twitter accounts I had that I used to bullshit around with Saxius a lot on Twitter ended up getting banned. And then I'd get a new account and we'd become bros again and be talking about this, that, and the other. And then I'd get banned. And so I've probably been chatting with Saxius off and on for 15 years. We had fun back then on Twitter, back when it was the bro SR and everything like that. It was funny before everyone started taking everything super serious. What is up?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I am doing very well. I was just sitting here listening to my little puppy be sad because wifey went to get her nails done, as she does once a month or so.
Poor puppers.
I know. Poor little bear. He's just over there being like, I miss my mom. But yeah, so I just primered. I see you, buddy. Little wiggle butt. I just primered up 3 of these guys.
Oh, I got one of those. I painted it up. They're neat. I love the flail snail.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do their bodies like pink. And
a little
then
more
do the
flashy.
shell like some other color. Like make them look weird, you know?
There you go.
But yeah, like I was telling Saxius, I've got this freaking cluster of miniatures on the desk, and every day I just try to knock a couple of them out and then keep moving on.
Yeah, same with me. Anytime I sit down at the desk, it's like, okay, well, pick out a handful of colors and go, who could use what, and just start slapping it on. So how's the weather down there for you? You guys warming up, or?
We're warming up. I mean, it was 40 degrees last night, but today I'm sitting in here and it doesn't feel bad at all, you know?
Good.
I mean, I like cold though, so I'm a weirdo. My wife, not a fan of it, but she can handle it because I bought her, 69 degrees. So yeah, we're doing our thing, but yeah, I bought my wife a bunch of cold weather gear stuff, so she's all right.
Yeah, she's taken care of.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, she's got her fuzzy Viking slippers and her freaking whatever. So yeah,
her warm, comfy stuff. But that's good. Yeah, we're gonna about 9 degrees here right now. The low's gonna be.
But we're at the low now.
Oh, we're at the low now, according to Zadarok. So yeah, we're at 9.
Well, I mean,
I'm not complaining. Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just relating the info. We're warm. We got heat, electricity, water. We're blessed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't think you were complaining. I was just saying. But after the layoffs that's been going around my wife's work. Yeah, she had to lay off 2 of the people she was manager of the other day, and it broke her heart because she's been their manager for like 20 years.
Yeah, that sucks when you have to lay someone off that isn't.
Well, it sucks when they tell you you're going to have to lay them off, but you're not allowed to tell them. Otherwise, they'll fire you.
Yeah.
And then you won't get your severance even.
Yeah.
It's just mean to kill a flail snail. I mean, if you don't kill it, it's going to kill you. So I told her, look on the bright side, though. If they lay you off with the severance you'll get since you've been there over 20 years, We'll just move to Kentucky.
Yeah, that's all. Time to
That was always the
pull
plan
trigger on
anyway.
that. Time to pull the trigger on that. You've been wanting to. If
Yeah.
we don't want it, go for it.
Yeah, I actually looked up the numbers the other day of some local used bookstores because some of the stuff I have isn't actually worth anything really to anybody. But if I can dump it off on a used bookstore and maybe get a little bit of money out of it, I'll do it. So,
Yeah, I mean, if nobody
what
wants it,
aggravates me is see my local comic book, the guy who owns it, my bro Phil, who owns Cosima Comics.
yeah,
I've bitched about this before. Back in the day, he would buy used games and he had a whole rack in the store where he sold used games. And that was my favorite part of his store because if I got sick and tired of games and stuff, I could always take it there, give it to him for trade, which I knew I wasn't getting like the actual value, but I didn't care.
yeah, you're getting a
And
little
then
something.
I would go over to his used game section where I would end up buying, like I showed off that box of first printing Middle Earth role playing for like $2. And but he don't do that anymore. And I'm like, why would he have stopped that? That I don't know though. I mean, I know they run really thin margins.
Yeah,
You know, people think opening a game store is like the easiest thing you could do. No.
no. The only way I would
I
love
know
to.
for a fact because, like I said, I'm buddies with the guy who owns the largest franchise of game stores in the Southeast. And when he and I talk, it's like every year, it's like razor's edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to open one, but the only way I would do that is I was blessed and hit the like ginormous lottery, and wouldn't care if I lost money.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I'd keep doing it if I was losing a ton of money, but if I
No,
was
but I mean, if you're just
infinitely
doing
wealthy, then
your own little local shop,
yeah.
whatever. It's a place to go. Instead of going and hanging out in the garage at home, hey, I'm going over to the shop. Open it up, hang out, see who comes in, blab, maybe
Yeah,
sell a few
exactly.
things.
It'd be more like a freaking club to hang out in than it would be for me anyway.
Yeah, same here.
But that's why, like, you probably have heard me go off on how Funko Pops have slowly taken over his whole store.
Yes, I remember that. I didn't know it was that guy, but I heard
And
you
I
talking
asked
about
him about it though. I asked him about it. I'm like, what in the F is all these Funko Pops everywhere? And the answer was, it's what sells, bro. Trying to keep the lights on, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Still got some
that's
college age kids that rely on me to take care of them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I get it, bro. Yeah, the Severance, she gets because she's been there over 20 years, every year is like a week of paid severance, or not a week, because when she told me, we figured it out and it was over a year. So maybe it's a month. I don't know how it works exactly. I'd have to ask her again. But basically, she would get what she normally makes, which is close to 100,000 a year, for like a year and a half, without even having to work. And plus, she would still be under their insurance. So,
that's a nice place to work for.
unless
And I mean, I'd hate to see her lose her job.
Out on your ass.
I hate to see her lose her job. I don't wish that, want that. But if that were to happen, that could be the silver lining to get up and skedaddle out of Florida and hit Kentucky.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like she don't want to lose her job either, but she actually hates it. See, and this is my failure as a man. My wife really, really, really wants to be a housefrau, but firefighters just don't make that much money. And when I met her, she already made way more than I did. And I've even told her, look, we could cut back on spending, not go on vacations. You could be a housewife. It'd just be tight. We'd have to really budget. And she's like, no, because she wants to have the savings and the 401ks, or not 401ks, but the CDs and the fucking, all that. So
Yeah,
that's the reason she works. It's not because she wants to.
Yeah, she's got accustomed to certain, things with the savings and all that other jazz and the income. And if you're piling it away for when she can genuinely retire, it's an investment into the future. So,
well, and another big part of it is my wife absolutely hates paying taxes. So every year, instead of paying taxes, because our tax bracket would make us pay taxes, we both just donate heavily to our IRAs. And so every year I'll put like 6 G's in my IRA. She does about the same. And then because we can deduct our contribution to our IRA from our taxes, it makes it where we end up not owing anything. Sometimes we get $90 back, but
yeah.
But if we didn't do that, we'd owe like, a couple thousand every year. And I wouldn't mind paying it, but like I said, my wife just cannot bring herself to want to pay taxes. She's like, F that. I if there's any way she can get out paying taxes, she's going to do it. And part of me, it tickles me, and I kind of love her for it. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, all right, I see you over there, my little Scandi beauty with your like hatred of paying taxes. But she's much more educated than I am. Like, she's got 2 different degrees and stuff like that, and working on her master's in psychology, and I graduated high school.
You're a blue collar grunt.
I am a blue collar guy, 100% blue collar, the bluest of blue collar. I've never had a sit down office job in my life.
Me either.
The last time I talked to Phil, and you can look him up online, the owner of Costume Comics, and say something good about Costume Comics if you want. It is a good store. If you ever visit Florida and you have a minute to swing in and just look, you'll be impressed. I mean, Costume Comics is crazy. It's got like, the one nearest me's got like 10 game tables always available. They've got a rack full of all of the old school Magic cards. So if you want dual lands and you're willing to drop $500, he's got them all.
Nice.
But the problem is the actual gaming section keeps shrinking and getting taken over by Funko Pops and board games. And not even mostly board games, Funko Pops. And because, like, I'm telling you just what he told me, people, they come in, they buy Funko Pops.
Yeah, they're a fun collectible for folks, I guess.
I mean, I think the thing is like, when nerd culture kind of become cool instead of something people made fun of, a lot of people who are never going to be gamers wanted to somehow be part of that group, though. And Funko Pops is like the perfect thing. Because if you're a 20-something-year-old chick and you want to be tee-hee, I'm such a nerdy girl, but you don't actually want to play 40K or D&D, you collect Funko Pops.
Yeah.
And then when the guy you're dating or whatever comes up to the house, you're like, this is my Doctor Who number whatever Funko Pop.
Yeah.
I say that because that's how my younger daughter was.
I want to be a poser.
One time because I said, all of this nerd stuff you buy is not a replacement for like a personality, right? She got pissed. She's like, ow, that hit a little bit too close to home. I was like, sorry. I mean, you're not even old enough to like Doctor Who. Get out of here. It's like, and I know that's kind of a elitist, crappy attitude, but it's like, you're over here talking about how much you love the 4th Doctor, right? It's like, you weren't even born when the 4th Doctor was around. What do you know about it, Now, to be fair, if she found all the Fourth Doctor's episodes and watched them all and loved them, then I mean,
True.
It's been a minute, like a month or so, since I've been to the store. So who knows? The next time I go, because I usually only go when my brother's around. We go together because I'm a big fan of taking a buddy with you wherever you go. We'll see what has replaced Funko Pops. But like 20 years ago, the whole store was nothing but role-playing games, war games. There was no like collectible nerdy shit, really. And then there was a whole section of the store that was comics, because he runs this deal where you can go into the store and take a slip and mark off which comics you want and turn it in. And they'll pull those comics and sell them aside in a box with your name on it, already with the comic pack and you know, plastic and all. And then you just show up whenever and you say, you know, I want the comics for, you know, James Mick, and whoever's behind the counter will just look in the box, grab them, put them down. You pay for them and leave. For a lot of people, that's very convenient. You know, they do all the work. You don't even have to go to the freaking wall and look at the comics. You can just say you want the comic and you're guaranteed to get it. So, yeah, they do a lot of really cool stuff like that. And they also run one of the major tournaments in Florida is actually ran by the Cosima Comics, or not tournaments, conventions. And then 4 times a year, they run like one high-end 40K tournaments. The ones that could get you invited to like the big show at Adepticon or whatever. Yeah. See, back in the day when they would have knickknacks, it would always be like something related to a war game or a role-playing game. Oh, I forgot. Magic. But the section of their store that does Magic is literally about the size of this wall here. Because, I mean, Magic cards don't take up a lot of space. And they have the counter there, and they got all the boxes of whichever sets they got under the counter. And then behind them, they've got the display of packs, right? So you walk up there. I mean, Magic really is the what would I call it? The profit maker, because it requires like no space to store, and the cost versus the profit you're going to make from selling the box is pretty good. Not great, but pretty darn good. So if you can get it where you got people coming in buying just boxes of cards every day, any normal store could survive just on that. His store can't, because, like I said, it's as big as my damn house about.
Yeah, he's got a large,
whole huge section that's just the gaming section, just tables and shit. So he's got to pay to light and heat all that square footage that's not being used actually selling things.
The lease, the rent, the property tax, whatever else, you know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, people don't understand that when they go to a comic shop, all of that space where there's game tables or just tables to sit and play Magic and stuff, that space is actually costing whoever owns the comic shop money.
Yep.
It's not producing money for him.
It's if you're not
that having the space to game produces money, because then people buy the armies and come into play. But
yeah, but if, all right, let's say the people buy the armies, they don't come into play. Well, that's empty real estate.
Right. And the fact of the matter is, studies have shown that the majority of wargamers play at home or in their own private clubs, you know, like older dudes that are into like Johnny Reb and Napoleonics. They'll have their own little areas and somebody's garage or whatever it is, you know. So the number of people you see in a store playing Warhammer is just scratching the surface of the number of people who are actually playing some form of war game.
Yep, most people I would think that play any type of war game, skirmish game that would take up space, they don't have the space to do it at home or a friend's house, so they go to the shop.
Yeah, kids. A lot of kids do.
Yep.
Like the people who actually have the money to drop on these armies, though, we also have like 8-foot dining room tables and
Yes.
and that's a big problem Games Workshop has never figured out. I'll target them specifically, is they do things that will drive off the older guys that actually have the expendable income to just drop on something, trying to get people who haven't even got jobs to be interested in their game. And it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that is a little backwards. It does seem that way.
But every company does it. I mean, Wizard of the Coast is the best example recently.
Yes.
They basically ran off all the old school players in their rabid attempt to attract a fraction of the population, most of whom are too busy riding in the streets to actually play role-playing games.
Yeah,
And,
they wanted wanted to attract the wrong. Well, no, no offense to your daughter, but they wanted to attract people that wanted to attach to themselves to something they thought was cool without, like,
she wouldn't be offended.
participating
She had
in
a
the
kid,
actual
and all
hobby.
that other shit went right out the window.
You know,
What I mean, though?
become more of a. They were starting to. They still might. I don't look at them anymore, follow them, listen about them. Kind of a more of a brand than an actual like game.
Well, yeah, they've been trying to make their game a lifestyle brand, but it's just not working. Most people don't want their lifestyle to be, D&D cookbooks and shit. Most of us literally, like the people who, again, who actually have the money to buy shit are just not interested in that. It's just not something we care about.
No, Zadarak and I, we look at Grandma's cookbook if we want to cook something good.
See, I was lucky because, like you, I had grandparents that were amazing cooks. So,
yeah.
BattleTech Mobius, Cosima Comics, when the new set came out, they had it in the board game section. But they don't really carry a lot of the Lance box sets. One thing about them, though, is if I walk up to the register and I'm like, I want you to order me this, or this, they'll take it down and they'll be like, yeah, I'll be here in a week. But the negative of that is I can just order it on Amazon, generally get cheaper, and it'll be here in 2 days because there's a huge Amazon fulfillment thing up in Orlando. So half the time when I order something, if it's something Amazon just always has, it's like next day delivery for free because I have Prime. So, it depends on how bad you really want to support your local game store at that point.
Yeah,
if you really want to take care of them, then you wait the week or however long.
Yeah, I use Amazon. I mean, I have Amazon and all that, but I use them. Excuse me. Amazon's got a great search algorithm. So I'll look something up on Amazon and then I'll look at the manufacturer and then I'll go to their website and compare price and time. I mean, like I've said before, I'm not ordering medicine for my diabetes and I'm out.
Right.
If I pay $5 or $10 more and it's not a weekly subscription, it's for one-time item, I got to wait an extra week, 10 days. I'll order it from the actual manufacturer, from the actual people.
Well, I don't know where you are in Canada, Mobius, but maybe you should find a way to get in touch with Black Magic Crafting, and then he would invite you to his house, and you can play D&D and war games with him.
Speaking of
course, I don't
him,
know where he lives either, nor am I trying to dox him. But I know back in the day, I used to watch his videos every time one came out because he actually was, his old videos are actually really amazing. As a matter of fact, I don't even know why I stopped watching him.
James, I sent a video to Shadow. I'll have to send it to you in Discord. So after we're done talking, look at your Discord messages.
I will.
Did you see the one where Black Magic Crafting got that mega haul of old AD&D first, second edition, and Dragon magazines and modules?
Is that what that video was? It said mega haul from like a flea market or something.
Dude, look at it. He hit. I was in tears and happy, and yet I wanted to punch the TV screen, that lucky SOB. I'm telling you what, watch that video. Wow, did he hit jackpot? Uh-oh.
So that was Black Magic Craft then.
Yeah. What, man? Wow. He didn't
his Shadow anyway.
I don't know. Hopefully he's okay and doing well.
Well, he sent me a thing trying to question me on what went down with Bear.
I don't know.
And I sent him back and I was like, well, maybe you'd know if you stopped avoiding me. But I put a smiley face next to it. So hopefully he understood I was joking.
I don't know what Bear.
He's just taking some time to focus on himself. He's probably not going to be on anyone else's shows for a while. He's just going to be on his own show. Oh, see, he mentioned his name and it pops up. He and I talked about it in private a little bit. I mean, and I'm not spilling any beans.
No, you don't have to. As long as he's doing okay.
He wanted to do his own thing for a while.
Okay, good.
He said he will probably eventually come back and hang out in the future, but he's got his own thing going on. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Cold Iron's been doing really outdoing himself with some of the memes he's been making.
Has he?
Oh, in the last couple of weeks, I think my favorite one is me and a bunch of Yakuza sitting in a hot tub, and my Yakuza tattoos are the cover of the second edition Hyperborean game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's got one with me as a pimp, and my suit is printed with that Hyperborea art.
Nice.
And then the two girls next to me, one's wearing a Vampire the Masquerade shirt, and the other one's wearing an AD&D shirt, and I'm just standing there like, I mean, and I think he's doing some work for Angry Tabletop Game Nerd, Holy Diver. Because I've seen a Holy Diver thing where he's standing on a stump yelling, and all these nerds are bowing around him, and he's like telling them their dicks are dry or some shit. Because Holy Diver said that in one of his videos, he's like, my dick is dry. And it's like, what the fuck? Okay. But like I always say, that guy's a character, man.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is. All right, hey, listen.
So Mobius did see that, turned it off because it pissed him off. Well, that's one of your countrymen. And I don't know what part of Canada he's in, but I do know he's from the part where,
it's Canada.
The snow. So he's from that part. Because I know.
Hey, brother, I'm going to hop off.
They've been.
I'm going to hop off.
Driving around, and it's like snow up to the fucking truck.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off. The Philly cheesesteaks are ready, brother. I'll be on. I'll be watching, but I got to eat.
Steak.
All right. Love you, man.
Love you too. Be good. But for all one of you that may or may not be interested, yeah, Bear's not pissed with anybody really on this channel. He's just doing his own thing for a while, And honestly, I feel it. I mean, because I go through those phases where I'm just like, ugh. And then I just want to. And that's when you see me skip like a couple days from live streaming or whatever. And generally it's just because I've decided to go touch grass for a while. Maybe go around the pond and fish or something. And, but then I always come back because I'll be honest, live streaming in front of you knuckleheads is really some of the best fun I've had. If I can't be playing a war game or running a role playing game for my friends or my brother or whatever, this is almost the next best thing as far as for my gaming life. Because we get to sit here and do one of my favorite things in the world, which is nerd out about games we love and sometimes games we hate. So, yeah, I'll never delete videos again. Shadow, if you want to talk to me about this shit, like I sent you the thing on Discord, smiley face and all. If I tell you, I want to tell you to your eyes. Actually, that might just be an excuse for me to try and get you to join me so I can look into your beautiful eyes. There are times that I look at you and I actually get lost in your eyes. No homo, though. Lives in Winnipeg. I don't know anything about Winnipeg, but I do know I've seen videos of that dude driving his truck around, and it was like lots of snow everywhere. So wherever he lives, it freaking snows. There's my bro. What you doing, homie? Why are you hiding now? Did I make you feel weird?
No, I'm trying to find my freaking camera button. What the hell?
I mean, the whole getting lost in your eyes thing made you feel like, damn, I feel like I'm being sexually.
No, I didn't hear any of that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I was saying, Shadow, get in here. I want to see, if I'm going to talk to you, I want to see you eye to eye. And
I don't know how to do it on this device.
Oh, that's fine then. PB, you could jump in too. I mean, if you're worried about it, I will flirt with you, but I mean, let's be honest, you're not anywhere near as pretty as Shadow. So, that's okay. Neither am I. So sometimes you just got to deal with shit. Sometimes you just got to play the cards that you were given. I mean, you do seem like a pretty manly guy, though. Like the kind of guy that I would hang out in the park and shoot hoops with or something. Take fishing, Winnipeg is cold. Okay, well, that makes sense then. And I do trust you. You know that, Coco. Especially if the conversation is about the country you come from. Because I honestly would have to look on a map to even find where Winnipeg is. There you are.
Okay, sorry about that.
How are you doing today, my most handsome friend?
Dude, I just got the most fucking amazing thing in the world in the mail.
I saw you post something about it, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, it won't air till tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay, good.
But let me see if I can show you this. You see this freaking bulletproof box?
That is a freaking bulletproof box.
It is the Arduino Kickstarter. I just got it in the mail. Let me show you this.
I've been waiting for that.
Check this out. It's magnetized. That's how strong the magnets are. This thing is easily 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters thick freaking acrylic plastic that holds the Arduino box set, the Barrels and Borderlands box set, and the Lost Dungeons of Tana's board, and a crap ton of extras. That's going to now be the centerpiece in our studio background. And they're sending me even more stuff. And what?
I was quoting one of my favorite people on the internet, Jerry Lee. I was saying, amazing.
Dude, nobody's done a Kickstarter like this ever.
Well, I mean, that freaking the freaking box that it comes in has got to be like, that's crazy.
Yep. And I got 2 of them, and I'm not giving them out.
Box like that. That's pretty crazy. 17 freedom units for Coco, 76 for me. The temperature literally went from 40 to 76 in the course of a morning to now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I was answering Coco at 17 degrees where he is,
Oh.
and it's 76 here. This
Yeah,
morning it was 40.
Yeah, same here. It was about 40 in the morning. It went up to
And then
72. Yep.
So
That's
I would
pretty-
tell you and everyone else out in the open, Bear told me he wasn't pissed at me at all. Or you,
Well-
obviously. He just
Well, I saw a video he posted later, and he was not happy. And I don't know what's going on. I wasn't around Monday.
Okay. Bear and Mobius for some reason are fighting.
Yeah, what the hell's that? You know,
And
I know.
don't even know why. And I've got to the point that I'm like, now I told Mobius and I told Bear, you know, like if Mobius was like talking shit to me, I would just shit talk him back to no end.
Right. Yeah, well,
And I thought Bear was cool when he told Mobius to fuck himself. I was like, well, that
Sure.
kind of settles that shit. But apparently, you know, he was still very offended about stuff. And I'm not going to say he's wrong. I mean, people can feel how they want.
you know, I've known.
Like Bear said, I'm naturally a troll anyway. So when people try to troll me, I just fucking crank it to 11 and troll back.
I'm not getting in the middle of it. You know, I've known Mobius for a long time. You know, I think I met you through, and I can't see the chat, so sorry. I'm gonna.
Everybody's just saying shadow with the exclamation points.
Thanks, guys. You know, I've known Mobius. I think I met him through Bruce a million years ago, and you know, Bear is a good friend. He has helped Jackie with his video projects and done voice work for his project, and you know, Jackie loves him to death. You
And
know, like
Mobius has been like one of the bros that show up to my stuff for like years.
and my stuff
Like,
too. I don't know what.
bring people in the chat. Mobius is almost always one.
And you
So
know,
I definitely don't want to get involved in some sort of Canadian Civil War.
precisely. I don't know what it is. They need to, you know.
An hour and a half north of North Dakota. See, now I got a reference, Coco. I'm sorry, Shao. Haas went to college in North Dakota. Minot, actually. So, yeah, when you say near North Dakota, I have a good reference then. Like, yeah, cold. Like, you could die in the winter cold if you're not paying attention to shit. So, I've
got my other device. I can now see the chat. Coco, Squirrel, Mobius.
Squirrel.
Who else is there?
Everything was unnecessary. And it's like, I really was hoping shit would just run its course. And I think it will eventually. I really feel like it's going to eventually.
Here's the thing, you know, every day we lose another one of us, you know.
And every day we drift a little further from Christ.
Trying, man, trying.
You remember that meme though? Every day we like.
And you know, we all come here for the same freaking reason, whether it's your show or my show.
Gaming shit, because you guys are basically kind of my friend group. Because other than once a week when I game in person with people, the only people my wife will play games. She does not like to sit around and just chat about it though.
Yeah, like I was telling Jackie, you know, I don't have family. I kind of almost never did, you know. And some of you guys, you know who you are. You are adopted family. If you don't like it, then you know.
Too bad I'm not telling you who you are, so you'll never know. I love the fact that my mom decided to crank me out of Brother to mistreat.
Well, I got one of those too, but he's doing 400 years, so I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah, but that don't count. My mom cranked out a Brother for me to make fun of, but also to be my best friend when no one else was around.
I tried, excuse me, but his best friend was Crystal Meth. You might have met her. And
well, I ain't ever met her, but I'm familiar with that whole family, the Methersons. Yeah. No, I get it. You just rolled craps when it comes to stuff, and it wasn't your fault. It's just people make
mistakes. Like I will quote my favorite and only, like probably my only favorite female musician. You're looking at the glorious results of a misspent youth, and like I said, you guys who you know who you are, you are my brothers, my cousins, my nephews, depending on your age. That's how I work it,
My
you know,
dog brothers and sword sisters.
mate. And I don't want to see nobody fighting. And whatever it is, like I said, we come here to freaking talk games and shit. Sometimes politics, religion, other stuff, whatever. We're not talking about Epstein yet. I'm waiting for that because I got some things.
You will not hear me saying much about Epstein on this channel ever.
Oh, because I see. So you're one of them.
Yeah, I'm one of them that has said what needed to be said about that.
No,
dude
I
a
was
year
fucking with
ago.
you. I was accusing you of being one of them. Then.
Oh,
Not
see,
the good
I
guy.
didn't even pick that up. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you. I know you ain't in the room
I
towards the
was the
girl.
one screaming a year ago that he's a Mossad agent involved with CIA, blah, blah, blah. No one wanted to listen. So now I'm done,
Same here. Jackie's got some things to say about it too. He's going to come down and say hi to you whether he likes it or not.
Well, let me tell you something. Here's my stance too, because everybody's like, what about this and what about that? Trump so far has not been proven to be involved in this. But if they do actually prove he is, I want him to go to prison.
Absolutely.
I'm not so loyal to an ideology that I want a pedophile walking free.
Yeah, no. They get the wood
Now,
chipper.
do I think they'll ever get Trump on anything? No.
Because I don't think he is. I'm trying to tell Jackie
something.
Jackie, get your ass over here. Say hi to your uncle.
Like if they had any fucking thing on Trump, they would drop that shit a year ago. Where's Jackie? Look at this guy. Man, had grown up and everything.
And look how handsome he is too.
Well, he takes after his dad. He got his good looks from his dad, I think. How you
He
doing,
does. You don't like to admit it, but he totally does. I could show you pictures. He at least got the nose. He might not have got the eyes, but he definitely got the nose. But look at this guy.
That's a good look.
How cool is this kid? He knows it. He's like, I'm too cool for you guys, but I will bless you with my presence. He's so freaking cool. Hold on a second.
Well, teenagers.
Precisely. He's got his Slim Jim like he's freaking smoking a stogie. Freaking love that.
Jackie, you're going to think you know everything until you hit 30. At which point, I promise you're going to realize that your parents were right about almost everything. Not everything, but almost.
You see that side eye he just gave me?
I'm telling you, we all
like
go
this
through
guy's an
it.
idiot. Have you met my dad? Homer Simpson's. He's got nothing on Homer Simpson.
When I was your age, I was convinced I was the smartest person in every room I stepped into. I hit about 30 and looked at my life, and I was like, damn, I'm pretty dumb. I should have listened to my mom.
Oh, he listens to his mom. He won't listen to me. The guy who's got all the social experience, he goes up and listens to his nerdy mom, who's the math expert who asked me to do her freaking adding and subtraction.
Yeah, I'm whispering to Jackie, like, listen to your mom. Because no other woman will ever love you like she does. She's the one that will die for you.
Yeah. Well, except that crazy chick.
Good mom. You might have a horrible mom. It happens, but I don't.
No. He's got the greatest mom ever. But you got to add in that one crazy chick that he'll hook up with later on in college or something that will freaking.
My God, avoid redheads, especially if they're Puerto Rican.
I would avoid Puerto Ricans anyways.
Well, I married one, and let me tell you, the combination of Latina, Puerto Rican, and redhead is like crazy, like squared.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to get like two dry erase boards to do the FAFO, and they have to be like a cube 3-dimensional thing.
Well, I told you, Shadow, my drill sergeant told me point blank when I was graduating from infantry school, I was going to marry a redhead and buy a car for like 29% APR. And he was right. And then I ended up paying child support for like 18 years of my life, because when you marry redheaded sluts and end up getting divorced, even though I hung in for 8 years because I didn't believe in divorce. But eventually you get to the point where you're like, damn, this girl's.
Now you swear by it, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, when you get to the point where the woman you're married to is racking up one hell of a body count, it might be time to move down the road, bro.
That's fair. That's fair.
If I had something to tell you, I'd tell you this. my nephew recently married a young lady he met at the Catholic Church where he is, and she is an amazing, wonderful woman. So keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head, just in your pocket. Don't just run after wild women. Find one that is a good girl. That's all. You don't got to listen to me, though. I'm kind of crazy, and I say shit that makes people mad and embarrassed by my existence. And I wear shirts with Pepe the Frog on them, so I'm already effed.
I mean, I see you're wearing an anti-communism shirt. That's commendable.
Oh, yeah. You know who loves this shirt? Razor Fist. I was wearing this shirt once, one of my streams, and Razor Fist happened to pop through and see it, and he shouted me out on his channel. Oh yeah, I view communists about the same way I view Satanists and people who would sacrifice children to Baal.
I mean, they're practically the same.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. The only good one's recently deceased one.
They already went through the wood chipper feet first.
If I were in charge.
Speaking of which, we need that on the shirt ASAP.
It's a good thing I'm not in charge.
That's debatable, but yeah.
No, I think it's not debatable because
wow.
Well, that's not really what I meant, but yeah.
If they're crying about how people in Minnesota are being treated now, they would be shitting their guts out if I were in charge. Because I would go hard. Insurrection Act, and you're all going to prison. All of you. Every one of you. The governor, the mayor, the police chief, anyone involved, you all go into prison. You're lucky I don't hang your ass. That would be a consideration, honestly.
We definitely need to bring back the public thing, but that's me.
I view these people as treasonous bastards. And so they should be treated that way. But like I said, it's a good thing I'm not in charge. I'm a little bit too, ay caramba. Yeah, Mobius. For real, ay caramba. When I was young, though, my favorite girlfriend when I was in high school was a Cuban girl. Oh, she's so beautiful. She had that long, silky black hair. But we only went out on 2 dates, and both times her abuela went with us. But she didn't sit with us. She sat at a table right next to the table. And when we were at the movies, she sat in the seat right behind us. So this was a good girl. Honestly, had I been smart, I would have stayed. Because, we split up and she didn't want it. But if I'd been smart, that's the one I would have stayed with. I would have married a virginal wife. And it would have been amazing. And my kids already have beautiful dark hair because my natural hair color is black. But, now how I got black hair being 50% German, I don't know. But life is strange. But my hair is really dark. Or was. And then I had children, Jackie. 2 little girls. Next thing I know, grayish. See, having a boy is great because you only got to worry about the boy. But when you have girls, you got to worry about every boy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I lucked out.
Yeah, you did. So, I don't know what else to say, Jackie. It's really good to see you, though. I hope you're doing well.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He lucked out. He had the day off for some reason.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I put him to work filming the Arduino video, and
well, I can't wait to see that. And damn, that like I said, that looks like a classy production, right there.
Dude, they are the absolute kings. They're called Emperor's Choice, but they are the kings of quality. It's just freaking mind blowing.
That statement makes no sense, but there's no need for a but in that. Imperial automatically suggests above a kingdom level.
Well, yeah, but the king of this and the king of that is kind of a common expression.
I think an emperor is like a king of many kings.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And their name fits.
That's why he's the emperor, because he actually rules over the countries that he's conquered.
So you work for the emperor.
For the emperor.
And as we all know, the emperor was right.
Sometimes in some of our prayers in Orthodoxy, we refer to God as the emperor of reality. And sometimes, well, a lot of times we refer to Christ as the king.
Yeah. I know in Catholic tradition, you have like Mary as the Empress of the Americas, or specifically the apparition in Guadalupe.
Yep. That's a fact. But anywho, yeah. It's that's what happened. Is basically, honestly, it's not even Mobius's fault what happened. I will dish 100% with you guys. Thank you for saying I had sound advice, Cody, but it took me 30 years of absolutely being retarded before I figured anything out. I guess I might have been trolling Bear a little hard. And so I think he was already a little pissy before Mobius even showed up. But because it was me, he's willing to, like, you know, just close his chat down a little bit and put up with it a little bit. I almost wonder if and the argument he had with Mobius was maybe him taking shit out on Mobius, because, you know, Bear, he's a nice guy. Last thing he wants to do really is offend people. And so when I was using Eskimo, which, let me inform you, if you go to Alaska, most of them will call themselves Eskimo until you actually know them a little better. Then they'll tell you the tribe, right? But Bear, I guess the Canadian mental system has taught Canadians that Eskimo is an insult, even though it just means the eater of raw flesh, right? Which 100% they do. And it's just stuff like that. Every now and then I'll say, like, Indian, and he'll be like, well, Native American. I'll be like, they're not natives. They come from Asia, you know?
Well, not only that, but the term Native American is incredibly over-inclusive. It can apply to anyone from the very tip of Alaska all the way down to Patagonia, which isn't really helpful in any discussion. It's like referring to someone as Eurasian. That could refer to an Indian, a Slav, a Japanese guy, any of them. Right?
Yeah,
and none of those are even remotely similar.
Eurasians and Indo-Europeans and
it's like, yeah, those are groups that exist, but it'd be weird to always refer to them as that because you don't know which one. And sure, technically speaking, Indian or Amerindian is the exact same way, but typically if you say Indian in the context of, you know, talking about the Native Americans, you're usually referring to the ones in your country specifically. And technically you can assume that for Native American as well. But it's just so, it's like from the indigenous Native Indian perspective, whatever you want to call it, it's like at this point, they've all grown accustomed to the word Indian. And it makes no sense to just suddenly say, you can't use that word anymore. We're deciding a new word for you. And it applies to groups, not only that you hate, but groups that have nothing in common with you. Debatably exist on an entirely different continent, at the very least in an entirely different hemisphere. No cultural or linguistic relation at all.
Yeah. I mean, so on 2X says Inuit. Yes, Inuits do live up there, but so do Yakut. And the Yakuts live in the icy parts of northern Siberia, and the Inuits live in but they're basically kind of the same people group. You know, ask Koss about, he dated a Kimchuk or whatever the hell she was, but she called herself an Eskimo until, you know, they got down to what specific term. But then again, he lived on the res in North Dakota too for a while with the girl. I think she was a Lakota Sioux or something though.
Yeah, and it would make no sense to refer to someone as a member of a group that they aren't.
Well, that's my big problem, Jackie, with the whole classification people of color, which apparently now Slavs are part of. Because it's like, when you say people of color, you mean Japanese people? You mean people that live in frickin' Colombia? You mean Filipinos? You mean, I mean, it's like, no.
It just means not white, which is, I guess, useful in a white country to use that term, but it's a little odd.
Yeah, I agree with you. Basically, it just means you're everything but white. And trying to add Slavs into that mix, as a person who's partially Slav, I can tell you right now, I disagree. I disagree entirely. I mean, the Russians and the Kievan Rus come from Scandinavia. I mean, and then interbred with the natives of central, the central steppes there. But how you doing, Tim?
Hi.
But this was the kind of conversation me and I think Tim were having, and I think it aggravated Bear because look, see, Coco says Eskimo is considered a colonial word. Not in America, it's not though. Maybe in Canada because of how you guys have to make a note of whichever tribe owned every bit of land you stand on at some point in the past. Like the only people who do that in America are communists. Like,
Well,
I don't give a shit who used to own the land I'm on right now. My people came over and took it.
Well, a colonial word is useful for for example, the word Aztec has no real historical significance in Aztec lands, but there's not a single person that isn't, incredibly pretentious that would correct you and say, you can't actually refer to it as the Aztec Empire. You have to refer to it as the Mexica Triple Alliance of city-states. No one really does that outside of an academic setting.
Yeah, I thought the tribe that founded the empire was the Mescali or something. I'm probably saying it wrong, but they saw an eagle on a cactus eating a snake and decided they'd build their big city there.
Yeah. Well, it's because their supposed ancestral homeland from which they originated was called Aztlan, but they never referred to themselves as that while they were actually running their empire, because it would be it's the origin point, right? For example, European migrations of Slavs and the Bulgarians into Europe. The Bulgarians and the Hungarians are technically not of the same European group.
Yeah, they're Turks, I believe, or
similar
or something.
Yeah, but it'd be weird to just say, oh yeah, the Second Bulgarian Empire was actually a Turkish empire. There'd be no reason to say that.
Well, now they consider themselves Slavs, whether they actually are or not.
Yeah, no, they're basically just Slavs and their language is similar.
Plus, when they rolled to the south and set up their empire, I believe it was Emperor Bosphorus, was it Basil? That wiped them out so hard that he now is called the Bulgar Slayer. That was one of the honorifics they added to this guy. He was Eastern Roman or Byzantine, and he rolled in there after the emperor before him got wiped out. He reordered his army and rolled into the Bulgarian lands and just whipped the shit out of them and then forced them to serve him as part of his, auxiliary. But yeah, mixed is a term. My niece is mixed. 2 of my cousins are mixed. I guess I'm mixed, but I'm all European. But again, are we going to pretend like swamp Germans on the coast in the Netherlands are the same as Russians from Novgorod? I mean, no.
Yeah,
we would never even pretend that. But
yeah, I mean, there's a reason why no one does that. And it does make sense, from a European or at least European cultural perspective, to lump other groups together because everybody does that. Everybody associates themselves with
we lump them together.
Yeah. It makes sense why Africans or Asians or American Indians will refer to European as some outsider group because it is to them a outside group. Just Europeans would refer to Africans or Indians as just this one group because from their perspective, they might as well be in any sort of pragmatic discussion.
So, Jackie, if and when you go to school, where are you thinking? History?
Yeah, almost certainly. Maybe
I could see you being a history teacher.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. At least until I, do more sort of artsy filmmaker stuff or politics.
I'll answer this. Yes, the original tribes that would go on to become the Aztecs and the Mayans and all that, they had this myth that they all like came from this giant cavern with 7 different caves, and they had to get out of there, and then they went on to do whatever when they got out of the caves. The Navajo have the same myth, except instead of 7 caves, it's 3, and they had to climb up until they finally got to the Navajo lands. A lot of those Indians in the Southwest, which are completely different than Northeast Indians or coastal Indians. I mean, totally different. Their creation myth has to do with them climbing out of a cavern deep underground and then eventually fighting monsters and shit. And then almost every one of them also has stories of how they had to wipe out the giants because the giants were eating them. And the whole Indian thing with giants, that is like a thing that's pretty much from Arizona down to frickin' Patagonia. Like they all talk about these giants. So in my opinion, they probably did exist, even though, you know, all the skeletons they supposedly had, no one knows where they are now. But and when they say giants, they're not talking like D&D giants, like 25 feet tall. They're talking about 8 foot tall, red-headed dudes that like to eat the Indians and had to be dealt with. And hey, I respect that. If somebody
remember
was
hearing
my tribe, I'd want them wiped out too.
Well, yeah, I remember hearing something that there's reason to believe that we at least know or are getting close to knowing what group that specifically was. Like they absolutely existed. It was just like a very, very different ethnic group. But, you know, they were there.
Well, in the Cherokee lands, so near Kentucky, because a lot of Cherokee never lived in Kentucky, it was considered kind of holy land or haunted land. They talk about moon-eyed people. And the moon-eyed people were like 4 feet tall, albinos with big blue eyes, and they only came out at night. And the Cherokee tried to trade with them, and it didn't work out. So then they ended up going to war. And at the end, the Cherokee won, and the moon-eyed people all retreated underground. Now, that's what the Cherokee chiefs say happened. And maybe it did. Supposedly, there's ruins of stone all over the Carolinas and stuff that the Indians said were there way before they showed up. So I don't know when the first Cherokee showed up in Appalachia, but they claimed there were people there before they showed up. So it's possible, I guess. I don't know. Oh, yeah. They say there's that. I'll tell you what. I don't know if the Egyptian Buddhist cave in the Grand Canyon does exist. I do know that where they say it exists, you cannot go. Like the government will absolutely stop you and send your ass packing out of that area. So either some weird shit is down there or it's very dangerous and they're afraid you'll get in there and get killed. Whatever it is, you can't go there. Yeah. History pays the bill if you go all the way and you become a teacher. I mean, teachers bitch, but what they don't seem to understand is they actually make more money, at least in Florida, than firemen. So, dude, the most I ever made as a professional firefighter, I mean, trained, paramedic, the whole 9 yards, was $34,000 a year. Your typical middle school teacher in Florida makes more than that. So when the teachers I knew through gaming would bitch, I'd just be sitting there like, really? Of course, on the other hand, I'd much rather run into a burning trailer meth fire than have to deal with a classroom full of kids. So
Fair. Yeah, fair. No, yeah.
Yeah, they restrict that whole area, boy. They catch you trying to hike in there. They show up in the helicopters and pack your ass on.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. What you got to say?
Oh, I was just going to say it makes sense that there'd be areas that are restricted because they're dangerous and like legends would pop up around that. But, you know, at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, the feds are doing like worse things or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the same type of people that injected a bunch of random dudes with like typhoid and tetanus and every other thing.
Syphilis.
Yeah, so tuberculosis and shit. So I wouldn't trust them as far as anything, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, but
Well, you know, the scariest that's ever been in the English language is, I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
right. I know. I was reading something the other day, and because I got super interested in the idea of a hollow Earth, and this one dude wrote so much shit, and he swears up and down that Mammoth Cave, if you go far enough in, will go to like some kind of giant cavern down there. But
Well,
The
giant
North Korean communists are hiding utopia in the Hollow Earth.
giant caverns are way different than an entire hollow Earth.
It's where Kim Jong Il found the unicorn.
Everybody knows that in the Hollow Earth, there's a huge war between, like Antarctica giants, Nazis, and North Korea.
Yeah.
and the Buddhists think that there's a civilization ruled over by the master, and he's got like magic or psychic powers or something. Supposedly, somewhere in those mountains over there, there's a cave that leads to the Hollow Earth too. No, I don't think college would affect Jackie the way it does like soft-minded people. I mean, I know like my nephew went to college, got his engineering degree at Auburn, then he became an officer in the Navy, and he did not get any less right-leaning than he was the day he went. So, you know, some people just are not that easily freaking motivated to join a group and be part of a group thing. They just do their own thing.
Yeah, and besides, my politics are already like esoteric and syncretic enough that it wouldn't really matter.
Them are some big words, and I knew one of them.
Okay.
I know what esoteric means.
Yeah.
But syncretic, I have no idea what.
Syncretic just means like mixing two different things. Like often you'll say like syncretic culturally, like, oh, it's a region where like French and German people mix so much that it's like they're both French and German, this whole group. And in politics, it would mean like mixing ideas from both, like Nayib Bukele, for example, who like up until less, like even into like 2021 and 2022 described himself as a radical leftist, despite the fact that, you know, by Western or American standards, he's called a fascist for some reason.
Who am I thinking about? The guy that was it Franco, his political thing? It's like ANCAP, but it's specifically like Hoppian.
Franco as in Francisco Franco?
No, I'm totally wrong. I'm thinking of what's his name in Chile.
Oh yes,
he was like an ANCAP, but he was the Hoppian version, which is like
he wasn't really ANCAP.
Whatever you want, unless you step out of line, and then you get whacked.
It wasn't really ANCAP. It's just that ANCAPs like him a lot because he hated communists so much.
Makes sense.
His actual thing was more just like, I don't know, he was just like a right-wing dictator who really, really hated communism, which is respectable.
Right. Well, I don't understand why anyone would like an ideology that's based around someone taking your shit.
Because it's not, you're not taking his, he's taking yours.
Yeah, like in the Soviet Union, eventually, even the people who supported the regime got their shit taken.
Well,
exactly. They don't know it's going to be them getting their stuff taken. They think they're the ones taking the stuff.
Not only that, but communism pushes so much in the like radical class warfare ideology that it's less about the sort of like American conception of we're going to take everyone's stuff and equally distribute it or whatnot. It's more just the rich, whatever the rich means for them in that country, have been doing X, Y, and Z bad thing to us, so we're going to get retribution by taking their stuff, redistributing it, killing them in some instances, which, you know, I suppose as a and depending on the society, a conceivable idea, but it always ends, because it's Marxist, it always ends up being infused with internationalism, to the point where you can just think everyone's the same, like the whole one world Soviet republic idea, which is very, very prominent in both old and new communist movements. And then you have their radical atheism and ties to sort of revolutionary groups that wanted to get rid of religious morality and values in their countries, which is why a lot of like modern Marxists are so in favor of these very liberal, not even leftist, but liberal ideas of like modernism, even though it's not Marxist or leftist at all. It's just liberal capitalism. But I guess if you paint it red, it's appealing to them for some reason.
You know, and there's a person who fits this really well. I've noticed with like the modern communist, not the tankies, because you know the Stalinists, but the modern American communists. It's like as long as you legalize all of their depravities, then they'll put up with you taking every one of their rights. And like Jim, whatever, Grim Jim is the perfect example.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he lives in a country where he literally doesn't have any rights, but because he can be a sexual deviant, he still thinks that he's okay. And it's like, no, the fact that you can buy, you know, deviant porn and shit does not make you free. That's not liberty.
What are you talking about? Comrade Starmer has given us great prosperity in our country. All hail to the glorious revolution of the new Labour Party, Comrade Keir Starmer.
Yeah, and what's even worse about Grim is he's been on the dole for 20 years anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, Starmer's like an idiot, I think.
Well, I mean, Starmer's getting his ass whipped by freaking an AI pink-haired goth chick, so, you know.
I genuinely believe it. Well, maybe not genuinely. But I almost believe that Starmer is secretly incredibly right-wing, and he's using his position as leader of the Labour Party and Prime Minister of the Labour Party to completely cripple the image of leftist politics, because the most far-left party in Britain that has any real power is the Labour Party. Like, yeah, you have the Greens and your communist Marxist-Leninist Party of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, parentheses, anti-revisionist version, fighting against the Communist Party of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, parentheses, Stalinist Hoxian version or whatever, right? We're the People's Front of Judea. That whole debate. The Labour Party is the only real leftist party with power. And yeah, of course, you have the Conservatives, the Greens, and the Liberal Democrats, which are all basically leftist, or at least liberal capitalists to this point where it doesn't really matter the difference.
Right.
So the only real parties that will have any chance after, you know, Labour and Starmer is done ruining everything is Reform, and parties more radical than Reform. So if you wanted to push Britain into the hands of Nigel Farage, he did a great job doing it.
So you're basically saying that Starmer may in fact be an undercover accelerationist.
That is either that or he is retarded.
Never underestimate the ability for politicians to be retarded, though.
I know it's probably more likely, but the end result is the same.
You know, I thought about the same thing, Jackie, the first time I was watching Asmongold and I saw that whole British government-made game where Charlie at school. I swear to God, I looked at it and I thought, that has to be a fucking op. There's no way they made this, like, seriously, thinking it was going to be a thing. Because first off, if they wanted you not to like the bad guy in the game, don't make her a cute goth chick. I mean, that's automatically you fucked up.
Yeah.
Like 90% of men on the internet are going to be like, I don't care what the government says. I want to hang out with this cute purple-haired goth, right? And of course, I don't.
You know, that happens.
In reality, yes, they probably were serious, but God, sometimes it's hard for just a normal blue-collar guy to see things and just be like, were they serious when they did it? Like a group of people were sitting in a room and we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. Like, what are you people thinking?
I have no idea. Either they're accelerationists or they are the dumbest group of politicians in the past 3 years.
I'll tell you what. I don't know when it happened, but at some point, somebody convinced the average British and maybe even the average European that they sucked balls, and they believed it, and now they're fucked.
Yeah, for a lot of them, yeah, especially like your Germany and Spain and Britain.
Well, I can say this. My niece went to Spain last year. She says it's beautiful, but everything's expensive, you know.
Yeah. I mean, countries like Germany and Spain, especially because of their whole fascism thing, even though Franco wasn't fascist, have a huge, like, we can't be nationalistic sort of thing. Spain's better about it because it's not Germany, but still.
Well, the thing is, too, it's like anyone who tells you that Franco was the bad guy, you all automatically know that's a guy who never researched the Spanish Civil War.
Either that or they're either a communist or a Nazi.
Exactly. Because Franco and the Carlists and the Roman Catholic faction were definitely the good guys. They were fighting against anarchists, communists, degenerates, whatever.
The only faction of the Republican side that was even slightly virtuous was the establishment government, but it was also a depraved, degenerate, capitalist establishment government, which automatically means they weren't going to do anything good. And they were selling out to the Soviets anyway. So had the Republicans won, it just would have been an Eastern European communist dictatorship in Spain.
Double D's on.
Oh, I didn't even know Double D was. I forgot what day it is. Damn. Well, I've been on 2.5 hours anyway. Jackie, you and me, bro, one of these days we need to talk about this shit. Because, I mean, you probably know way more than I do about it. But I do love hearing, having this kind of highbrow conversation about, like, things that are going on. Well, at least one of us is highbrow. But anyway, brother, you be good. I know you will, though. I never worry about you. I'll say bye to your handsome dad. And I'm glad you got your thing there, Shadow. I know you've been really wanting it. And everybody in chat, I'm going to go watch Double D. That's what I do. And I will see you guys later. Jackie, I really do appreciate seeing you, though. I know you're busy.
Thank you.
So anyway, Via con Dios, or Via con Dios, whichever way. And I'll catch you guys when I catch you. Hopefully tomorrow, if the creek don't rise, as they say in Kentucky. See you, Shadow.